to a cinema with a couple of friends. Well, it's obviously in the movie it appeared a moment very very specific that all the movie theater was screaming a lot. It was very very awesome. If I have to say, that is my overwhelming experience because I was not the only person who was screaming. Was all the, like I said, all the movie theater was screaming.
Mhm.
How, and I think it was in the part when all the Avengers appear in the portal, something like that.
Oh, I see. I see. Mhm. Yes, fantastic. Thank you so much. Yes, that was definitely a blockbuster and a classic also, The Avengers. Very well. Let's continue class with the next part. In the audios, we could hear the description of these experiences, right? We're going to match the extracts to the images A, B, and C. Okay, let's read the first one. Please read Santiago number 1, and you tell me if you think it's A, B, or C, please.
Okay, I went on this incredible vacation. It was a once in a lifetime experience.
Mhm. Yes, okay. Well, class, what picture does it describe?
Image B.
Ivan says image B, and it is correct. Continue, Ivan, with number 2, please. Read and choose.
Okay. I stopped and stared. I just took my breath away. Is a mention of image C.
Correct. Thank you so much. Let's continue. Read, please, Angela, number 3.
Okay, there's this one memory that really stands out to me, an incredible memory. I'm not sure, but I think
Mhm.
it's letter C.
It is, well, they say it's B, no problem. Thank you. Antonella, number 4. Read, please. Antonella is not there. When I got there, I just couldn't believe my eyes. So that goes for the image A, the last one, image A. Okay, well, there are also some expressions that we could use when we describe our experiences. Okay, in the vocabulary panel, activity 6B, we have the following expressions. Okay, it says the first one we have is it took my away. Do you know?
Breath.
It took my breath away. Very good. So it means that it was overwhelming. It was very beautiful. So I couldn't think. I couldn't talk. I couldn't say a word. Number 2, I just couldn't. My eyes
Believe.
believe. I just couldn't believe my eyes. In other contexts, when you, well, this is when you see something, but when you listen or hear something, you can also say, I couldn't believe my ears. You can also use, instead of eyes, ears. I couldn't believe my ears. And normally it's when you are surprised, when you didn't expect that, and you are in shock. Okay. 3. One memory that really out to me
Stone.
stands out. One memory that is the most important for you from all the experience, the one that you will remember or that was memorable stands out. 4. A once in a experience,
Lifetime.
in a lifetime experience. So it means it's something that doesn't happen every day, probably only once in your life. Hmm? Okay, so using these expressions, you're going to think of a story or an experience that you associate with the expression. Okay, it can be any story actually or experience. Maybe the first time you travel by airplane or that you visited another country. Maybe you can tell your partners, the first time I traveled abroad was in the year 2016. I went to Europe for the first time. It was a once in a lifetime experience. I traveled alone and I got to know new people, new friends. I love the food. So you can describe using the expressions here, minimum one of the expressions here. Okay. That's it. Okay. You can use also other vocabulary word, descriptive adjectives to tell your partner about your story. Okay. You can read the transcript of on page 43 to remember the stories and also the expressions that you can use apart from these ones. Okay, but minimum use one of the expressions here to narrate your experience or a story to your partner. Let's work with a different partner this time. Okay, there we go. Let's join. Okay. So first of all, is there any volunteer that would like to share this story or your experience with us? Feel free. Yes, Ivan, go ahead, please.
Okay, the day I presented my thesis for my degree was something that took my breath away. I remember standing in front of the evaluation committee, and one of them asked me a question. That situation was overwhelming to me. When the committee decided to approve my thesis, I was in that stunning place, and I was shocked by the news. The next day, dawn, when I went for a hike in Barranca, I just couldn't believe my eyes when I saw a bear on the horizon. It was really a breathtaking experience. It's awesome.
Wow, yes, both were overwhelming experiences. I can imagine how you felt. Okay, when that happened to me, I had a stomach ache. I remember because I couldn't. It was too much for me. Okay, thank you so much. Excellent. Anybody else? Another volunteer to share your stories?
Well, I want, it's a short story. When I started learning English, I met some people from Canada, and I could say that at 100% of certainty that that my vocabulary uh, was so short. Or I mean, I just know just few words, but I accept the challenge to receive people from the airport that comes from Canada, and all this feeling. I mean, I was overwhelmed uh, because it was many emotion of the moment. So it was overwhelming because I didn't know what to do, if I will do it well or not, and I don't know. It's was I could uh, give a solution to the situation, and after this reflecting about this event, I think that was it was stunning because I have the I was so brave to face the situation, even even it was overwhelming. It was stunning at the same time because of the experience. Thank you.
Yes, of course. That was a memory that stands out to you, definitely, because you didn't speak the language like now. For example, you can keep a conversation, but when you don't know many words and you are helping native speakers or giving them a ride, I can imagine how you must have felt. Thank you for sharing. Okay, class, well,
Thank you, Liz.
there are different stories and experiences I know you've been through in the past and you will in the future. Let's see, we're going to close this lesson just because we need to continue with the preparation for tomorrow. Tomorrow is our speaking number 3. So it will be a different evaluation because you will be evaluated not on a specific topic, but based on the strategies that you know for the TOEFL exam. So we're going to continue with that. I sent you some of the documents for the TOEFL through inbox. I hope that you downloaded them and you kept them in a file because that will be useful to review. So today we need to move on with the next material that was pending. Okay, that is in the TOEFL section. In this case is the skills development, identifying specific information. On previous classes, we also learned about the general aspects of this exam, and today we're going to talk about the skills to identify specific information in this case. Okay, let's see. Okay, well, we were talking about the TOEFL and we said this is an international exam that will help you know your level, and it evaluates the English level that you have from basic to intermediate, in your case, intermediate. And there are main receptive skills that you need to be aware of. The main sub-skills you will find questions about appear here. First of all, this type of questions are to identify the main ideas. They are the most important ideas. Also identifying specific information or details, and inferencing, that is to guess about a possible answer from the context. So today we will practice identifying specific information. Specific information is often factual. So you will see that throughout the text. Be aware that said information can be expressed in different ways. So listen or read carefully, because it can be used for the reading section of the exam or for the listening section. Predicting. Predicting is a complementary skill that can help you locate the specific information that you need. So before you listen, you need to think of a possible context or a possible answer for that question. And before you begin, you need to try to guess the key information contained in the text. Okay, so just by reading the title or by listening to the first lines, you can predict what will come next. And there are some question stems per skill. In the case of listening for a specific information, these are common questions that you will find in exams. Okay, for a specific information, you will find WH word questions such as what, when, where, and how. And these are the questions. Danae, please, can you read the questions? All of them, please.
I don't know if just me, but the screen is just carrying. I can see that.
Oh, it must be for everyone. Let me see. Can you see or no?
Okay, no worries. I can.
Thank you.
The question?
Read all the questions, please.
Yeah. What problem does the woman have? Why did the man talk to the professor? What does the man suggest the woman do? How has the man helped the woman? What does the man want to know? What was John's concern? What is not included in the monthly rent? What does the man tell the women about the delivery? What does the man say he wants to do? How was information for the study collected?
Thank you. As you see, all of these questions are WH word questions. They ask for specific details in the, whether it is in the listening or in the reading section of the exam. So also reading for specific information and details. Okay. In this case, we have specifically questions for reading when reading for specific details. Okay, so we have the following questions. Santiago, can you read, please, the next questions?
Okay, teacher. What is image processing? According to the passage, when did the United States experience a brief depression? According to the passage, the growth in automobile production caused an increase in the demand for which of the following is not true of the professional piano players mentioned in the fourth paragraph? What was the purpose of the Sutro Tunnel? The author compared the construction of the Sutro Tunnel to the first transcontinental railroad in North America because both projects. Why does the author mention X-ray emissions in line 25? Which of the following statements is true of the ball in a ballpoint pen?
Thank you. As you notice, here we also have WH words, but for the reading section of the exam. They are always asking about details. Also, now it's time to practice. We will work on a listening passage together. So I'd like you to have your pen or pencil in hand and also a paper, a piece of paper or a notebook, because you will try to guess the answers. Okay, so we can have like a taste of the exam. Okay. Listen carefully, take notes, and answer the questions on your own. We will check together later. After you listen, you will have around 10 seconds to choose the answer. Okay. We will see how the listening in the exam is, and also we will answer using what we have already learned, the questions for specific information. First of all, you will hear an instructor talking to his class about the television program. Listen carefully, take notes, and answer the questions from 1 to 2. Okay, so you have some seconds to read first the alternatives. Okay, take 6 seconds to read the alternatives. Now it's time to listen and answer.
Listen to an instructor talk to his class about a television program.
I'd like to tell you about an interesting TV program that'll be shown this coming Thursday. It'll be on from 9 to 10 p.m. on Channel 4. It's part of a series called Mysteries of Human Biology. The subject of the program is the human brain, how it functions and how it can malfunction. Topics that will be covered are dreams, memory, and depression. These topics are illustrated with outstanding computer animation that makes the explanations easy to follow. Make an effort to see this show. Since we've been studying the nervous system in class, I know you'll find it very helpful.
Now listen to the question. 1.
Why does the professor? What is the main purpose of the program?
You choose your answer, take notes, number 1, and write the letter. Okay, the next part.
Why does the professor recommend watching the program?
This is a question number 2.
Why does the professor recommend watching the program?
Select your answer. Now let's check. Okay, The first question was, what is the main purpose of the program? So the answer is alternative C, to explain the working of the brain. The purpose of the program is the main idea of the text, right? It is mentioned at the beginning of the talk. Some useful words are subject, human brain, function, and malfunction. Even though some keywords are mentioned by the speaker, for example, computer, graphics, expression, etc., set topics are not the main idea of the talk. Plus, alternatives A, B, and D are not even connected to the class's subject. Okay, so the answer is C. For the next question, it was for specific details. Why does the professor recommend watching the program? The correct answer is D. It will help with coursework since the speaker says explanations in the show are easy to follow and that they could be helpful. And the rest of the alternatives were not mentioned in the listening passage, so they can be eliminated. Okay. Some general tips for identifying specific information is first to remember that you don't need to be an expert. On the exam, you will listen to academic audios or lectures, and you don't need to be informed about geology or biology or history. You just need to pay attention to the details and the general idea. The answers will be provided in the text. So all the answers that you need are in the text. Specific information questions will start with a WH word. So what, where, when, why, how. And next, when you are listening, try to anticipate the kind of information that is being presented. Maybe you hear they were talking about the brain. Maybe they are talking about science. So you make predictions about the topic or what they will talk about next. When you are reading, also scan the text quickly to try to find information being requested. If you need a specific information, you can scan the text because you don't have a lot of time to read, sometimes word by word. So you can scan the text quickly and find the details that you are asked for. Okay. Well, I also send you this material through inbox, so you can check that again. And we're going to continue with the next part. The next part is for the test-taking strategies. Okay. This is for guessing meaning from context. Also, this information will help you for tomorrow's speaking because you will do an activity about it first, and then you will work in groups of 3, and you will discuss about the strategies that you need to use for this section of the exam, that is reading or listening, and you need to discuss with your groups tomorrow your answers and what the strategies that you use to answer that alternative. I will explain you a little bit more later. Okay, but first let's pay attention to these strategies that will help you for tomorrow's speaking evaluation. So, guessing meaning from context. What does it refer to? Let's have this time, please. Valerie, can you read? What does it refer to? Guessing meaning from context.
It refers to the ability to infer the meaning of an unknown word or expression using contextual clues. The meaning of vocabulary hidden around it, the way the word is formed, or background knowledge of the subject. It can be very useful when solving questions about meaning in the reading section of the exam.
Thank you so much. Yes. So we will be practicing now guessing meaning from context. When they ask you for what does the word approve mean in this line, and you probably don't know the meaning, but you just by understanding the general context or the preceding words or the word that follows that word, you can know the meaning of that word. So the context is important. Next. To guess meaning from context, use, okay, yeah. To guess meaning from context, use the immediate context, the other words in the same sentence. So you need to focus on the sentence first. If it is not enough, look at the wider context, the sentences that are before and after that. And remember always in an exam, this goes for all exams. If you don't know the answer, you can guess, but it's better to mark. Okay, it's better to mark an answer that you think might be the right answer. Okay, so you can do an educated guess and mark what you think is correct, even though you are not 100% sure. Okay, sample reading. Let's practice guessing meaning from context using an item from the reading section. Okay. It says, for this exercise, let's look at the expression fits and starts. Okay, look at the words in bold. What does it mean? If the meaning is not clear, let's use the context in our advantage. So what do you need to know to do if you don't know the meaning of fits and starts? First, you need to read the full passage. You need to try to identify its different parts. If the kind of information and the kind of information provided in each part. The topic here is the time. It is referred to when the author mentions timekeeping, time of day, a single yardstick of time. Now, look at the sentence where the expression is used. Okay, you have the sentence here. Okay, all of this sentence. What would happen to daily transfers? Okay, look at the sentence here. It says, where the expression is used. What would happen if people had not agreed on using the same reference for time? What would happen to daily transfers of goods or services in the modern world? Can you guess? Transfers of goods, services, and information would be chaotic, messy, interrupted. Good job. To do something in fits and starts is to do it intermittently or sporadically. Okay, so that would be the meaning of fits and starts. So in this case, you needed to read the sentence and the words that are before it. Let's read the whole paragraph here. Were it not for public acceptance of a single yardstick of time, social life would be unbearable, chaotic. The massive daily transfers of goods, services, and information would proceed in fits and starts. The very fabric of modern society would begin to unravel. So before it is talking about something chaotic. Okay, so we need to read the previous sentences to try to guess the meaning of the word or the expression that is being used. When you guess a meaning from context, let's remember this. The first thing you need to do is to identify the parts of a speech, as well as the prefixes and the suffixes that make up a word. It can be very helpful when you guess a meaning. Okay. You remember prefixes that can make a word negative or positive, like legal, illegal. That would be a prefix, or also, for example, suffix, doctor or teacher, they are also the suffixes. And other suffixes that can change the meaning of a word from positive to negative, like careful, careless. You need to identify these prefixes and suffixes. And if the word is also a noun, an adjective, if it's a verb, you need to know the type of word it is. Text will usually offer more information on a key term. So make sure you read carefully and pay attention to definitions, examples, synonyms, and antonyms to the word. These strategies are especially useful for reading, but you may use them for vocabulary too. Now let's practice. We will work on some multiple choice questions for reading together. Read carefully and answer the questions on your own. We will check together later. You will have 2 minutes to read before answering the questions. Okay, for this class, take your notes also for your answers, then we check. You have 2 minutes to read the following text. Now answer the question number 1. Number 2 and 3. Answer and write your alternatives, please.
removed.
You will write your answers in your notes. In a moment, we check. Number 4. Choose your answer. Okay, now it's time to check our answers. The phrase resting on in line 15 is closest in meaning to.
Supported by.
So we have here the answer is the final one, B. The answer is B, supported by. Excellent. This part of the text talks about the pipeline's course. It either appears above or beneath the ground, depending on the type of surface. When it is up high above the earth, it rests on steel racks. This is a phrasal verb. Can you guess what it means? Okay. So A is incorrect because the pipeline is not made up by racks. C is incorrect because the first part of the sentence refers to when it is above the earth. This is later reinforced in the following paragraph. There is no reference of it being protected in any part of the text. So D can be eliminated, and B, yes. So rest on means to lean on some other thing. Number 2, the word undertaken. In line 30, the answer is D, which means to make an effort to complete something. So it says, it talks about the pipeline's cost. It was so expensive. Alternative A, B, and C are very similar to Spanish. This can help us narrow our options down, so they were not correct. Alternative A does not make sense within the sentence. They are not taking the pipeline away. They are building it. Alternative B does not make sense either because they are not only choosing to build it, they actually build it. And C does not make sense because they are not moving the pipeline, they are building it. In the number 3, the word particular is closest in meaning to the alternative D. Okay. Sorry, alternative B. The correct answer is alternative B, specific, because the amount of their contributions to the fund were determined by the amount of the shares of land these companies controlled. They were not random, they were specific. In the case of alternatives A and C, they refer to something that is out of the ordinary, strange or unusual, so you can eliminate them. And alternative D means the same, which based on the text would be incorrect. Shares depended on each company's investment. So be careful with false cognates. These are words that resemble Spanish, but their meaning is different. For example, peculiar. 4, now, for questions like this, look at the text for definitions. From the options available, which one offers a definition that matches the prompt? The question prompt. The correct answer for number 4 is alternative 3. It says here, permafrost. The definition is presented in parentheses, permanently frozen ground. We can eliminate the other alternatives immediately. In case there is no definition available, knowing the main idea discussed in every paragraph can help you narrow your options down or eliminate the other options. So, well, general tips to study, to guess meaning from context. Okay, these are some tips that you can choose for tomorrow's evaluation. First, refer to the immediate context for clues. The sentence itself, you can look at the sentence. If it's not enough, you can look at the wider context, the sentences that are previous to that sentence or after the sentence. The text will often offer contextual clues, for example, some definitions. They will give you examples, synonyms, or antonyms. So make sure that you identify them as you read. And finally, be aware of the worst part of a speech. If it's a noun, a verb, a subject, identify the prefixes and suffixes that may modify the root's meaning. Okay. A suffix like careless, careful, and illegal, legal, they can help you know what the meaning is, if it's negative or positive. Okay. So for tomorrow class, you will have the speaking number 3. As I said, you will work in groups of 3, and you will first read a text. You will read a text, and this activity is not considered for your grade. Okay, if you make mistakes, no problem. What will be considered is the discussion in groups. So you will have to read a text and answer some questions similar to the reading quiz. You answer the questions, and then after you take the quiz, this is a reading quiz, you will discuss in groups of 3 about the tips that you follow or the strategies that you follow to answer or to choose your options, to choose the alternatives. You can say, well, for number 1, I chose letter B because I read the previous words and I identify in the previous sentence it was not talking about the track, but it was talking about that. So you're going to share with your partners the strategies that helped you choose your answer. And the speaking is based on the discussion, on your abilities to talk about the strategies of the test taking to get meaning from context. Okay, so you can review this again at home. I remember all the TOEFL material. So review this at home again, one more time, to be aware of the strategies that you can use. And I think it was here. I sent you all the TOEFL material before here. So you can read guessing meaning from context. So you can be familiar with the strategies for tomorrow's discussion. Okay. Do you have any questions, class? Is it clear?
Teacher, about the evaluation is about answer similar reading quiz, but after that the group is the discussion about the answer. Is answer by student, right?
Yes, you discuss. There is no problem if you answer the questions incorrectly. That is not your score for speaking. That is not your grade. Your grade is based on the discussion about your answers. Maybe you work with Santiago and Danae, and you tell Santiago, what did you choose for number 1? I chose letter C because I use this strategy about identifying the type of word, and it was a verb. So he's going to explain how he chose that answer. Only talking about the strategies that you use for the TOEFL exam to answer that question. Only that.
Okay, teacher. Thanks.
Yes. So don't worry about the quiz. No, it's not your grade. It's only for the discussion. The discussion is your speaking evaluation. Okay. Yes, what can help you is to review the material that I send you to guess meaning from context. Review that again at home. Okay. And you can review the rest of the materials. We have also, here I will show you, there is an additional material that you can work on individually. This is here. You enter to the TOEFL. Okay, let me show you here. You go to TOEFL, the TOEFL section. If it's not available for you, I will make it available. Don't worry, but it is for you. It is practice done outside the classroom time. So when you click here, for example, I will try to publish it. Okay. So when you click here, you will have some activities to practice on. I think that was another one. Give me a second. Okay. Mhm. Yes, so I already posted that. I think you could be able to see. This is all the material for the TOEFL. That can be done outside of class, so you can see more information, and also you can practice here with some activities. This is extra material that you can review outside of the class. It's not homework, but this way you will be aware of the types of questions that come in general for your TOEFL preparation. Okay, so I recommend you do this and you practice at home. The audios are also there. Okay, that is practice test level 1. And these are all the listening sections that you can listen to. Okay, to be familiar with this before your exam. Well, class, thank you so much for your time. I took extra minutes from you. Well, I see you tomorrow, and sweet dreams. Thank you.
Teacher, one question quickly about
Yes.
the reading is 4 questions about listening.
Only, okay, for tomorrow is only the reading, no listening.
Reading. Okay,
There
it's
is
4
only,
questions.
okay, let me check that. It is important. I think there are 4 for this evaluation. Give me a second. I will check.
Teacher,
Mhm.
we see these informations.
On the platform Canvas, on the TOEFL section. Check for TOEFL. Okay, let me see 1 second.
It's an international exam virtual.
There are 6 questions, sorry. Medalist, 1 sec. Ivan, there are 6 questions to answer.
Okay, teacher. Okay, teacher, thanks.
Okay, no problem. Yes, Medalist, I will show you here. Okay. I will enter as a student. So you go to modules, and you should be able to go to the TOEFL here. Practice test level 1.
This is practice for the speaking 3 to tomorrow.
No, that is in general for the TOEFL exam. For your speaking that is tomorrow, you mainly need to practice the information I sent you through inbox the other day. That was strategies here, TOEFL files, guessing meaning from context. Yes. Okay. So download it and check that again.
Guessing meaning from context is about the speaking 3.
Yes, for tomorrow, because you will take a reading quiz, and after that you will talk about your strategies that you use to answer the questions for that quiz.
Teacher, más o menos a qué hora tomaría el speaking?
It should be at 10 or maximum 10.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we need time for that.
Sí,
I will try to run, no problem.
For consider my time.
Yes, time is important here. Okay, class. If there are no more questions, I see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
See you tomorrow, teacher.
See you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good
Bye.
teacher.
Bye, teacher.
Bye.
Bye.